the hype. Billy Joe Saunders now, he got some traction in North America and around the world by fighting on HBO and stepping out of his comfort zone in the UK where he fought all of his fights, I believe. It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the Boxing Clinic and more. Y'all know what it is. And he stepped out of his comfort zone and he told the world that, my confidence is back. I'm back in shape. I'm in the groove now. I'm with Dominic Ingle and I'm here. Now, how does he stack up versus Canelo and Gennady Golovkin, which I talked about it briefly yesterday, so I decided to come back and do a video on it. In my opinion, we could start off with Golovkin. Let's start off there because, that's where I'm going to start. Can he beat Golovkin at this point? Absolutely. Billy Joe Saunders is a tough son of a B. He is. SOB. He's tough. And the thing that he could do that other fighters couldn't do, as far as Canelo and, Danny Jacobs to a certain extent, is he can keep the fight in the middle of the ring. And I know people say, well, Golovkin is a much different animal than David Lemieux. Absolutely. But by nature, Billy Joe Saunders possesses the tools by nature to outbox, Gennady Golovkin. And I said that a long time ago. I said the only reason I would favor Golovkin, because he was on another level, he was fresher and younger at the time, a couple years ago, about a year ago at least, was that I didn't feel Billy Joe Saunders was offensive enough. And I still feel that way, and that's why I would slightly still favor Golovkin in that fight. But after May 5th, you never know. Golovkin in April will be another year older. Will be, 36, 37? And Billy Joe Saunders is only 28 years old. He's a southpaw. And the one thing that he does more naturally better than any opponent, only one I seen comparable to him, but didn't have the size, was Kassim Uma. That fought Golovkin, was the simple fact that he's a tough guy like Uma, but they both understood how to box and turn Golovkin. But the thing about Uma fight was the Golovkin that Uma fought wasn't the Golovkin that's honed and skilled and fully fledged that he is now as a real-rounded boxer. That dude was very robotic and stiff that Uma fought, and Uma was able to expose that early on. For those who've seen that fight, if you ever seen that fight, I think it's on YouTube too. Kassim Uma versus Gennady Golovkin. Uma gave him some trouble with his athletic ability. But the thing that I like that what Billy Joe Saunders could do is he can turn Golovkin. He can improvise with his feet more naturally than Danny Jacobs did, because Danny Jacobs by nature is a more aggressive fighter. Canelo Alvarez by nature is a counterpuncher, but he doesn't possess the foot movement and the boxing fluidity that Billy Joe Saunders does. And he did very well versus Gennady Golovkin. And the other thing that Canelo doesn't have is Billy Joe Saunders' physical prowess, his length, his height, his physical size. Billy Joe Saunders is a strong guy, and he understands range. He can control range. And not only can he control range, he doesn't need to move a lot. He doesn't need to expend a lot of energy to control range. And we all can see that. He can just pivot and take a step and pivot and turn his opponent. He's done that a lot. Guys that got aggressive with him, he's better off against aggressive fighters. The thing about what Golovkin is more calculated than aggressive fighter. He can control his aggression. He can take it up a notch. He can pull it back. He can control it at will. He can sit back and calculate and see what you're going to do and process in his mind. Okay, you know what? At the 3-minute mark, like 10 seconds from now, this is what I'm going to do. He's a step ahead of the game. His IQ is underrated. So is Billy Joe Saunders' IQ. Very high. But Billy Joe Saunders can move and box and not waste energy. Danny Jacobs, he fought scary. He wasn't a mover, boxer, counterpuncher by nature. Now he's kind of growing into that role as he become a full circle, all-around boxer. Billy Joe Saunders, that's him by nature. Only thing that he really lacking is the offensive prowess, the more the aggressiveness. But I think a guy like Golovkin might make him more offensive. He can come out his shell. He showed last night that he can come out his shell and be aggressive, He showed that. He showed that he can put some combinations together. But if he can step that up, he can double that productivity with his hands versus Golovkin, and he can take Golovkin's punches, and roll those punches like he did David Lemieux, or roll those punches like he did with Ebanks Jr., I would like his chances versus Gennady Golovkin. I really would. It's all about how you would approach the Gennady Golovkin fight. And those people who thought him getting that last belt on Gennady Golovkin become lineal undisputed champion, No, it's not going to be easy because Billy Joe Saunders can speak that language, and he's going to be a year older. If he takes the Canelo fight, he's going to have more wear and tear on his body by the end. How he would size up for Canelo, I think he's a mismatch for Canelo. Like Tyson Fury, Kell Brooks said, Frank Warren, I believe, said it. I think Roy Jones said it. They better keep him away. He will box the fuck out of Canelo Alvarez ears off, you know. We know Canelo Alvarez has issues with foot speed, and it'll be a nightmare. That'll be a matchmaker's nightmare for Golden Boy. I'm going to just keep it plain and simple. You know, I will keep Canelo away from Billy Joe Saunders right now. They thought they was going to get a David Lemieux Canelo matchup, and that fight probably would have been signed, sealed, and delivered as David Lemieux would have won last night. They're not going to put him in there with Billy Joe Saunders or risk him losing to Billy Joe Saunders, then Billy Joe Saunders reaping the benefit of being an undisputed lineal champion later on next year. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to risk that, you know. So, you know, I think Billy Joe Saunders is bad for Canelo. Could Canelo beat Billy Joe Saunders? Absolutely. Canelo is a good fighter. I just stylistically never liked him versus guys that can move like Billy Joe Saunders and Danny Jacobs as well, who both physically enjoy length advantages, height advantages, and weight advantages over him on most nights. You know, I didn't like that. But Canelo knew moving up was going to be a challenge. I see him working on his boxing ability, his foot speed, and I see him getting better. I would never count Canelo Alvarez out in a fight at middleweight. But Billy Joe Saunders, Jamal Charlo, Andrade at one point I thought could give him some issues. Danny Jacobs, I thought he can give some issues. But the thing about Danny Jacobs, you know, I think Canelo could expose his chin a little bit with counter punching. But I think I'm starting to think that Danny Jacobs is on another level after seeing him in the Luis Arias fight. I see in his eyes and his demeanor, he's a very confident individual. It's going to take a top guy to really bend him over and crack that chin open again. But I just, I'm not saying that I'm ranking Billy Joe Saunders ahead of Canelo Alvarez off a David Lemieux win. But if he's in shape and he's well-rounded and he's active like that, that's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for Canelo Alvarez. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but I still had Canelo Alvarez towards the top. You know, Gennady Golovkin as well. I'm pretty sure that fight going to be signed soon. I heard it's close to being done. So, we can, mouth water over Canelo and Golovkin, in the near future for Cinco de Mayo, which falls on a Saturday. And, I like Canelo chances in the rematch to do like an Andre Ward thing and dominate a rematch. But we gone.